What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here on Alvarado Street, which might be the most culturally significant street in all of Los Angeles, and that's saying a ton. And also, I wanted to know, who was Alvarado Street named after anyway? Let's get into it. See, Alvarado has a huge historic significance in Los Angeles, but it's a pretty short street. It's only 3.6 miles from its residential end up north to where it turns into Hoover on the south end. And even when it was plotted out by a city surveyor in 1876, it was sort of an afterthought. First Street, Alameda, Main Street. Oh yeah, and also we're going to define Alvarado Street too. Alvarado Street was named after former Alta California Governor Juan Bautista Alvarado, who took power via coup in 1836 at the tender age of 27. Initially, Alvarado Street wasn't a main thoroughfare. In fact, it was on the outskirts, bordering swampland. But in 1885, Mayor William Workman, who owned property off of Alvarado, decided to turn a portion of that swampland into what was then known as Westlake Park. Soon the railway came in, bringing population, and oil wells were developed right on Alvarado, and that brought revenue. Put those factors together, and by the beginning of the 20th century, Westlake Park was where the most fashionable people in Los Angeles had big, beautiful houses, and it was the most popular outdoor attraction in all of LA. 1912, another landmark went up on Alvarado and Hoover, the First Church of Christ Scientists, which was designed by architect Elmer Gray, who also built the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Huntington Gallery and Library, and the Pasadena Playhouse. That church, by the way, also became the Los Angeles headquarters of the Jim Jones People's Temple, the cult that committed a mass suicide in 1977. Today, that church is still a landmark, and it's the Iglesia Adventista Central. And soon after the church came in, St. Vincent Medical Center, the oldest hospital in Los Angeles, moved to 3rd and Alvarado, a 10-acre facility which still exists today, though not as a hospital. That was followed quickly in 1926 by the Westlake Theater, which was considered one of the premier theaters in all of Los Angeles. In 1991, it turned into a swap meet, and it's still a landmark today. Due to Alvarado's central location, it was always a nexus and thus always had a multicultural feel. An example is Langer's Deli, opened in 1947 and still open today, which was a Jewish deli, reflecting the Jewish population that lived off of Alvarado in the 1940s and 50s. The demographics continued to change, and by 1981, another landmark restaurant first opened its doors, its first U.S. doors right there in Alvarado. Talking about a Pollo Loco. And just to underscore the significance of Alvarado Street worldwide, even on El Pollo Loco's website, they note that the fact that they expanded from Sinaloa to Alvarado Street, not just to Los Angeles. Alvarado's always been a main thoroughfare through Echo Park, another one of LA's most important communities, which actually used to be Edendale, which was the original Hollywood, home to LA's first movie studios. Alvarado is also an important thoroughfare through historic Filipino town, including at the corner of Alvarado and Temple, where there's Remedios Remy V. Gallaga Square, commemorating community leader and historic Filipino town resident. Gallaga, she dedicated her life to ending discrimination in employment, education, and housing. It's also important to note that the majority of LA's Guatemalan population lives in Westlake and Pico Union, right off of Alvarado, and there is a Guatemalan street market on Bonnie Brae and 6th, just down the street. Street vending has always been a lifeblood for immigrants and migrants in Los Angeles, and perhaps no street exemplifies that better than Alvarado Street, which has vendors lining both sides, especially near MacArthur Park most days. And we can't talk about Alvarado Street without talking about Alvarado Terrace, which is a little offshoot of Alvarado right near Pico. It has the distinction of having 6 houses on the same block, all designated as historic cultural monuments due to their varying and high-end architecture. That was an enclave that sprung up in 1902 when the developer sold the lots for $10 each, with the agreement that the homeowner would spend at least $4,000, an astronomical figure at the time, developing these homes. So Alvarado Street has history, it has length, it spans so many different cultures, and it just might be the most culturally significant street in all of Los Angeles. All right, LA, it's been a minute.